Hello, Gemini, and welcome to another month of Soulfire Tarot. SOL, Soul, the Sun. My name is Steve, and this is for the month of April 2025. I have a obsidian orb, which I'll later be using to glean more insights into the spread. And to start, I'll be drawing from the Psychic Tarot. Right off the top, we have Rejoice in Celebration. And the Universe card. Gemini, feel like you are coming into a time of a certain kind of prime energy. Good for you. We have here Rejoice in Celebration, the Three of Cups, kind of union, coming together of emotions, a sharing. There is more than enough, and you have come to a point of fulfillment and happiness and joy with others, and the bounty and lavishness of yourself and others, as well as the universe. The universe, understanding cosmos as within, so without. Perhaps you have realized your place in the universe. Perhaps the universe you are finding is working with you, through you, as you, together, as one. For we are truly not separate, but all bound within as creatures of the great creation. All right, so I have these here. Let's get into a bit more fine granularity through the Rosicrucian deck. We have the Knight of Cups. This is somebody who is confidently pursuing their dreams. We have a white horse. They are partly led and guided by divinity, by their spiritual guides, their inner knowing. They're following their dreams, whether they know it or not. Or they are confident and passionate, holding their cup up, holding their dream, taking it somewhere, letting it take them somewhere. It's beautiful, and we have that underneath the Rejoice in Celebration. We have the Prince of Pentacles as well. This is somebody who is also on a chariot of sorts, slowly at night, crossing the lands with the ox, the Taurian energy, stable, sure, step by step, as I like to say. You know, this is somebody who has been slow over time, gradually getting to where they're going, or where they're going. And yeah, that's excellent to see two rider cards right away. Things are going, Gemini. We also have the Queen of Wands. This is somebody who is passionately in touch with their inner creative power. Somebody who is maturely kind of using it. They know how to use it maturely and wisely. This is somebody who doesn't let their fieriness get the best of them, or the circumstance, or necessarily cause harm for others. This is somebody who utilizes it when the time calls for it. This is somebody who is skilled and adept, and who is able, their fire, their creation, their light, and their warmth can take them places quite fast. We see the cheetah. There's a kind of agileness and a distance here. So, yeah, I feel like Gemini, this is really cool to see, actually. I see, like, it almost just looks like I'm getting this vision of somebody who's, like, traveling and has, like, realized is living their dream. in a way, and it's come through hard work and like stability and step by step, patience over time, just like keeping at it. And I see you in a position where it's reminding you, to kind of be in that mature, stable kind of with your power, with your creative ability here, with that fire, and celebrating that, rejoicing with others as things have come together and continue to work together. Yeah, we have the star, so like coming into your brilliance, and illuminating that, combining these elements and pouring it out into this pool, bearing yourself to the world, think of like a music star. So it's really cool to see. That's really cool to see. Sounds like a pretty bright month, or at least this energy arc theme is definitely playing that. We have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups here, showing this card of kind of a romantic scene. This hand holding this lily, as the sun sets by this pond and these many cups. But I feel like what this is saying, I pulled it in reverse, is things are kind of changing, and that perhaps some old relationships, some old connections of who we thought we are in old times of life, and the kind of structure of our reality is kind of sunsetting, I feel. And there might be, kind of a reveal of that, as things are changing. Yeah, and kind of like, I think it could be good for you, for those that this speaks to kind of, to perhaps, there might be a sense of mourning, of seeing kind of what is lost and what is no longer with us, or what has been. I feel like this could also be, I feel like the core of this that I was picking up on right away when I touched it was about taking that time, or giving yourself the space and permission to kind of appreciate, where you've been and where things have gone, what you've been through, to kind of like sift through, if you imagine this aquarium bowl of this water, right? Your feelings, your emotions, your fluidity, your lusciousness, whatever, like a fish tank, it needs to be cleaned every so often, right? Otherwise the things living within it just live their life and shed, and we can get yucky, and it can be good to kind of look like, oh yeah, there's this tank here, I should clean this, I need to, refresh the water, and kind of look at like, oh, it got like this before because of this, and I didn't really know that. Or that was because this creature was here, and maybe that creature's not there anymore. It lived its life, this metaphorical creature in the space of your experience. I'm going to go back to the Psychic Tarot card. We have the Universe on the right side here. Yeah, emotional withdrawal. So, yeah, I feel like this is saying, even though these things are going, I mean, have you ever felt that before, where it's like things are going in your life, things are coming together, you've been working hard on stuff, you're just kind of like, you're in it to win it, you're shining, you're doing well by all external circumstances. But, as our life changes, as we kind of take on new forms of ourself in life and relationship, I think it could be, sometimes we go through a sense of emotional withdrawal. Again, connecting with this grief, with the sunset, with things changing. So yeah, I feel like that's really just kind of affirming that there. Yeah, and we have the Ace of Pentacles. So I feel like whatever you've been doing, whatever you're up to, is leading you to a positive new opportunity in terms of kind of planting a new seed or something coming to blossom, perhaps a new work, new opportunity. Perhaps is just saying that you're going into something new, and it's really auspicious and positive, and it's something that's going to grow. And this coming out after that emotional kind of like, like the metaphor with the fishbowl. I feel like that will help serve this growth, because it's like, think about it, like everything has its time, right? Everything comes completion. That's the word that's coming to mind. So it'll help serve your sense of completion and completing things from within or without too. Mm. Yeah, exactly. I have the Three of Swords. Wow, it's like such a polarity here with all the wonderful celebratory things and accomplishments. And now we have the Three of Swords in reverse. So this is somebody who's like tormented in this grieving loss and like anxiety, worrying about stuff too much. These swords cutting down from above, from your mind and thoughts and stuff. That's just kind of like tormenting you, but it's in reverse here. So I feel like this is saying that for some of you, I think you've been getting over, or it would be, excuse me, hiccups, spindrift, shaw. I feel like it's it's saying that to get over your worries about that, or that this might be something, this new opportunity, and doing this kind of like inner emotional processing, this inner appreciation, this grieving. Grief is a very natural thing, and it's necessary in life, right? Because like we all love certain things, and when we lose it, it's almost like a part of ourselves, our bond or connection or relationship that helps define and give meaning in our life is no longer with us. It transcends, it goes back into the whole. And it's just kind of, it's part of the sacredness of life. And if we're able to mourn and stay connected with the things in our life, whether it's, people, things, the natural world, whatever, it's facilitating the flow of life from within ourselves. And if we stay frozen, if we stay blocked, we got these like stagnant things that we're holding on to that we haven't properly grieved. In a way, it's almost like preventing the flow of life that's coming in sway of the thing that we are grieving or feel grief for, and that it brings in new life, new emotional replenishment and space, in my experience. So let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Fool. And ultimately, again, I feel like this is saying that there's a new journey kind of at hand, afoot rather. I feel like some of you, this is communicating something like you're kind of entering a new phase of your life, or this is a time in the month of April. It would be good working with the energies to kind of embrace this beginner's mind, to stay open and humble, to be open to the world, to see what comes to you, to see what the world has to offer, to see and experience and go where you may go. The idea of beginner's mind or child's mind, right, is somebody who's innocent, who does not have many assumptions, who's very open and curious and kind of at whim, but obviously the predilection of the Fool, this young child, we see the wolf, right? Inexperienced, like Little Red Riding Hood, huffy puff, I'll blow your house down kind of shit. I will not apologize for my French. Uh, but yeah, basically what I'm saying here is with that Fool, that kind of embracing the newness and the kind of freshness, the childlike wonder, but also, we're coming from, we have experience and wisdom. Yet sometimes those things of what we've experienced and what we assume, what we expect, sometimes those things aren't exactly going to be true anymore, or are unnecessary in a new circumstance. I keep on kind of seeing just like this artist, like traveling and experiencing stuff. And I do have a Gemini, several Gemini friends who are like musically inclined. And so there's some part of me where it's like they're back in my mind, but I'm really trying to hold the space more so for full Gemini, not just these particular Gemini that I know. But it's fascinating how it kind of even resonates just in my world from what I know about some of these Gemini's sons. So anywho, underneath the universe, what should I do next? I will draw from the wild oracle spirit cards. Yes. Wow. Felt that one coming. I literally saw a wolf right before I pulled that card. In my mind, I didn't. It's not. Oh wait, yeah, I was looking at the wolf here. I did literally see a wolf. Interesting. So yeah, this is about instinct, and I feel like that's the crux between this card in the context of how things have moved and where you've come to, Gemini. So even though with these new beginnings, on one hand, it's great to be open, curious, like a child, to kind of see the world with a new lease on life in this new phase, this new chapter, this new kind of arc of experience. But then also with the wolf, this is the idea of instincts. This is something deeper that connects with our body, comes from our body, this deep innate intelligence of our instincts, right? So I can totally see, somebody, an adult, whomever, going out into the world, having new experiences, being open, having wonder, being curious, learning new things, having new experiences, but your instincts are still going to be at play here, right? And I feel like this is just highlighting that. Like, don't forget about your instincts, trust your instincts to an extent. But again, it's kind of the paradox, right? Sometimes where are these instincts influenced by? But we are who we are. We know what we know. So yeah, trust your instincts. And, at times this could be going it alone. There's certainly circumstances where an individual's instincts might be going against the herd, right? This idea of the lone wolf, right? And that may be true. Maybe the herd isn't like, yeah, whatever, you're crazy. We're going to go over here and do this because of that. That's where I need to get and what I want with my food as a wolf and my wolf clan. But the lone wolf is like, nah, I'm going to go over here. This is right for me, or something's giving me a vibe about that, right? So I'm going to do this. So yeah, that's cool to see. Trust your instincts. Excuse me. Hiccups. All right. Anything else that wants to come through? Aha. Yeah. One more. Yes. Beautiful. The Queen of Cups. So this is somebody who has realized in their dreams, somebody who is affluent, somebody who is really in touch of that and has this kind of lustrous depth and this kind of fecundability, meaning like creatively fertile. Somebody who, like, I'm seeing like this crystal palace with all this lush water. This is somebody who is kind of earned their place in the way for which people connect and kind of relate with them in terms of like dreaming and the imagination and like the creative lusciousness of life. So it's really cool. I feel like that's kind of ultimately what this arc is about here. I feel like this kind of caps it off at the end here with understanding the universal flow in the process, Gemini. So that's incredible. Very cool. All right, I'm going to turn to looking into the obsidian orb to try to psychically scry some more insights. I feel like I've been pretty tuned up for this reading, so I would be surprised if there was a lot more. The word aggregate is coming to mind. Aggregate. Aggregation. Collection of things coming together, there's kind of a combination of forces and kind of understanding, like in an elemental sense, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and all of a sudden you have something new and more dynamic, kind of like an aggregation. And I feel like this aggregation is just kind of like a massing of energy. So I feel like for you, Gemini, there's kind of this bigger process that I feel like some of you may be involved in, where you're kind of finding yourself like kind of coming into this like new kind of order, this new like constellation of your kind of place in life and what it is that you're doing, and kind of seeing the bigger picture and how individually we all play different parts, but then also recognizing like the sum of the parts is greater than the parts themselves. And it's really cool because that's like, it has to do with like creativity. It has to do with creativity. It has to do with how we connect and conjoin our efforts with other people and bring dreams into fruition. bigger dreams and things like that. So there's something about the word is coming to mind, hollowness. There's something about a hollowness though, and I think yeah, there's something about like so like think about like certain artists, like performers, musical types, or even actors, actresses, right? People who are performing, the hollowness, yeah, it's something that the people can take on like multiple personalities, and kind of perform and act in different ways. Um, it's this idea of hollowness, it's something, um, not to make a judgment on it, but it's kind of a question of like, do you lose yourself in the process of being molded and shaped in aggregate, combining towards something to create and perform something? Or yeah. So no, the hollowness is actually it's quintessentially about openness, of form, a kind of a deep receptivity and a way to be informed, and it all has to do with like affluence and influence, essentially, without negative connotation. I'm just talking about like in generally. If you think about like a tube, right, like something can flow through that tube, or the shamanic sense, like the hollow bone, right? That there's this structure. I am this husk. I am this bone, and through that, the spirit, will play through me like a flute, right? I am a tool, a medium used for the expression and the unfoldment of these divine forces, divine influence and intelligence of life. So yeah, it's not necessarily a negative thing. I'm just kind of seeing that like understanding like capacitance. Um, yeah, I'm seeing something on the upper end here about triggered. So I feel like with this, the kind of like the heavier emotional stuff, the emotional withdrawal and triggeredness, especially with this card, I feel like this is a potential hang up. Like this being triggered about something, whether it's something that connects to a wound where you have trauma and there's a kind of like reactive guardedness, you know? Um, oh, okay. I see it now. So, yeah, it's coming up where the the emotional healing, this is something that is something of perhaps an obstruction with, you know, this the opportunity for growth and like new success in general. I feel like it's a very archetypal thing, and now I'm seeing that, yeah, like towards the manifestation and crystallization of these dreams, on the side of the universe card here with the Fool, right? That's kind of like where this goes. There's new growth, this new seed, this new kind of like recreation of self and expression. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's almost like there's like a trauma can be one of our greatest teachers. And in the last video, I was actually relating how, um, I've been going through a process recently with, I had, 4 years ago, I had a cracked tooth. It was the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced. I don't wish it on anybody. And my oral health hasn't been the best, yada, yada, yada. 4 years go on. And the tooth that initially had a temporary cap cracked off. 2 years advanced from there. And then my tooth got very sensitive one day. I was just like tonguing it a little bit. And all of a sudden it sent this crazy nerve pain flare up that was like on the level of the pain I was having when the tooth actually cracked. And it just like triggered me hardcore. And I was like super stressed out. And I was like, shit, whoa, that's trauma, because like up here in my head, it's like, oh, it's just all like nervous system, visceral, deep limbic response. And yeah, so I've been learning how to kind of mitigate this newfound kind of tone of anxiety, that I was not living with before this pain incident increased, and it kind of forced me to be like, okay, I have to adapt. I have to do better. I don't want to live with this. It's too painful and miserable. Like, I don't want that. So I started taking better care of my teeth, remineralizing, cleaning it very well, oral health, eating a bit better. And I've also been learning like box breathing, things to kind of activate and help balance and activate more in the parasympathetic, where I'm less like, the world, things are happening, and I'm just anxious, on edge. I feel like I can't breathe. That kind of release, like, yeah, I'm centered and balanced in the flow. So, yeah, I'm not sure why I said that, but I felt like it was coming from a relatability place. So, anywho, let's see, Spirit, is there anything else to come through the cards before we close? Yeah, right here. Yeah, this is the Prince of Wands. So this is just basically saying, like, take care. Is what I'm getting from this. Because in the upright, kind of glorious, blazing one, oftentimes I see this card as kind of like somebody who's kind of like arrogantly like, yeah, I can do it. I'm going to do this. Let's go. Like this like teenage male figure, adolescence. But I see this in reverse. So given the context and the intention I was drawing from, I feel like this says, take care, stay humble, appreciative, and everything will find its place in right balance, because the gift is in the given, and everybody's given something. So, peace. All right. If you like this video, please like. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. That's cool too. Whatever. And if you want to follow in the future, give me a subscribe. Thanks. Once again, my name is Steve. This is Soulfire Tarot. SOL. Soul, the sun.